Hello, hello. How's everyone doing? This is Sandy from Doux Designs, getting ready to start this off tonight. Um, I am looking for comments just to make sure they're working before I move on. So, hello, Evelyn. I can see them. Very happy to see you here. Um, so I did a little bit of preparation for tonight because what I want to do is going to take a little longer than normal. So I've decided I want to use the girl right here from the Urban Groove set. So she is on her roller skates. I love that. She is ready to roller skate. Um, Hey, Drea. Hey, Susie. So I put her on my Misty, and I went ahead and stamped her out. We are going to color her. I will have to cut her out, though. Hey, Beth. So I'll have to fussy cut her after we color her, but we are going to color her tonight. And then I grabbed a few pieces of ephemera that I had and the stickers I have left, and I want to use those. And I grabbed the Boogie Down paper pad. That's the current one that's in the shop from this release. And then I decided I'm going to use this die set. It's called a cassette card mini album die set from Scrappy Boy Stamps. So this one is called the cassette tape card mini album. It's going to kind of look like this when we get done. So there's a lot of pieces, but it's pretty easy to put together. So what I did was I chose this paper from the paper pad, the stuff that has the flowers and the peace symbol. And then I cut all of the little pieces that go with it so we could make the cassette tape. So I am going to color the girl with these colors in mind. So that is what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and get started so we can get her going. Hey, Tammy. Okay, so we are going to color her with darker skin tonight. So I'm trying to decide right now, like, how dark of skin I want to go. Do I want to go lighter or do I want to go darker? I can't decide. So that is what I'm doing right now, is deciding what color skin tone I want her to have. So I'm thinking, all right, I think I'm going to go with the E30s. Hold tight a minute. I need this one. I might need this one. And then we'll use this one for the base, and we'll use this one for the cheeks. Okay, so here we go. Hey, Timothy. Hey, everyone. Okay, so we're going to go with all of these. We're going to go with E39, 37, 35, and 33. And I also pulled E21 just in case I need a little bit of help with the blending of the ones at the end. And then I have E00 to wet the paper, and I have R12 for the cheeks. So that, I know that's a lot, but I just, I want it to look good. So, hello, Tiffany. So, and yeah, stick around because her hair is a lot of fun to do. I'm excited about doing that part. So let's go ahead with our E00, and we're going to go ahead and just get that base coat and wet that paper to start off with. So I don't really take my time when I do this because I'm really just putting the foundation of the color on the skin. I just don't really want to go outside the lines, but other than that, I'm not really paying attention. It doesn't have to be fully saturated, and I can miss spots if I need to. It's just to wet the paper and get things going. Can you turn that fan off of me, please? Because it dries out my paper. And hey, Dale's here. I was just asking him to move the fan off of me because when it blows, it dries my eyes out and dries my markers. So I want it on because I'm hot, but I don't want it to be okay. I'm going to try to do this from the side of my marker. She has shorts on. Her belly is hanging out. So we're going to put it on her belly and we're going to put it on her legs all the way to the top of her tube socks. Remember tube socks? Oh my. I remember them. Her outfit kind of reminds me of what I had to wear in gym class every year when I was young. Remember when you used to have a gym outfit? Oh my. Am I aging myself? Hey Patty. Hey Desiree. Hey everyone. I'm so happy you guys are here. So we're going to start out with E39. And I know E39 is pretty dark, but we need this to bring our colors together. So I'm going to start off by doing just these little shadowy areas underneath the little pieces of hair that are hanging around her face. And then I'm going to go around those just a little bit to kind of get that dark started up there. And then I kind of feel like because she has her little headphones, she needs a little bit of shadow underneath it as well. And then I'm going to do this side too. I don't normally do that, but I feel like the headphones would be casting a shadow on her. Then we're going to put a little bit under her neck. I'm going to put a little bit on the side. She is facing that direction, so the light would probably be coming in that direction. So I'm not going to make it as dark on that side as I am on the other. So that's kind of my plan anyway. I like to put a little bit of, oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me. Sorry. I do like to put a little bit of the dark area around in a few little spaces just to show some depth there. Wasn't allowed to wear crop tops. Yeah, me either. And now that I can do it, if I want to, I don't want to because, you know, it just doesn't look good on me now at my age. People would laugh. Well, maybe not to my face, but you know what I mean. So, no crop tops for me. Unless I'm at home and no one can see me, except for Dale, who loves me no matter how I look. Or at least I hope he does. Alright, so the back side of her arm, because that's the furthest away, and then I am going to put just a little bit within her hand, but not much. Just want a little bit there. And then we're going to move on to the next color. So this skin tone is all about blending it as you go. So you're going to notice I'm going to switch pretty fast between markers. I want to kind of keep the paper wet. Too many spare tires to wear a crop top? Yes, exactly. Yep, that's exactly how I feel. So I'm going to pull that color down a little bit further on her face. Now, don't let that scare you. It is very dark, but it won't be when we're done. It really won't. This is not one of the really darker color skins. This is one of the lighter dark color skins, so it won't be too bad, I promise. But when you're doing this and you haven't put any other color on the image, it does tend to look a lot darker than what you're anticipating. So don't let that scare you, because that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be super dark when you're done. I mean, I did some stitch images the other night and they looked really dark as I was working through them, and they really weren't that dark when I got done. So it happens with all things that you're coloring, not just your skin tones. I always think it's funny what they look like through the process. Hey, Shelly. Through the process can just really throw you off a bit. It can make you feel like, ugh, it's crazy. So R12 is what I'm going to do right now for her cheeks. I'm just going to throw this R12 underneath the color because I don't want it to stand out too much. And I don't want to wash out any of the skin tone color. So I'm just going to put that on there right now. And then I'm going to go to the E35, which is next in line. The dark isn't scary, then it's not dark enough. It's true that, Susie, for sure. So now, since I put that blush on there last, I'm going to go ahead and extend further from where that blush is so that while it was wet, I could get it to blend a little smoother, move into place a little better. Now, you're going to notice, if you're using the same colors as me, you're going to notice that there's a line up here between the darkest and this color. So you'll know that I'll go over it a second time, just going over that line a second time. I tend to call that working the line because I don't want that line to show up as like a big line on her forehead. So we'll have the same issue throughout the body. So we'll need to go over some of those lines a second time just to make sure they get filled in the way that we want them to be. So don't be afraid to go back over it so that if you're doing just sections, you're not going over those sections 2 and 3 times and after they dry, because then you'll have all different tones going on. So you have to kind of keep up with that for skin tone. So if you're doing small images like this, it's super easy to do that. But when you start getting to a larger image, like a much bigger one, like on a 5x7 or on an 8x10, you have to be a little bit more careful, and you have to do it in sections so that you don't get all these different shades of color. So that might have been a little bit more than you expected, but once you start playing with the colors, you'll notice exactly what I'm saying. Just print one of your images out on an 8.5x11 and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Hey Beth, hey Phyllis. So E33 was the last color that I had in the combination, and I think we'll probably end with that, but I kind of like that the E21 has a little bit more help if we have any issues. So I have that one, but I don't know that I'll need it. I might be just fine with this color. So underneath her lips, along her cheeks. It kind of washed out the pink for her cheeks, so I may come and put a little bit more of that in now that we have a base coat of it. It will look nice when you add a little bit more to it now. And I didn't do her eyelid. We don't want to leave her eyelid off. That would be very bad. So while it's wet, and I'm sorry that it looks orangey on the camera because it really isn't at all orangey. You'll see when I post a picture of it after the live. It really is a nice brown, soft golden brown tone on her skin. We are not going to need the E21 because everything blended just nicely with these colors. So I think we're going to be okay without it. But I wanted to have it pulled just in case we needed it. But I don't think we're going to. You know, when I colored her the first couple times, I forgot to do her belly, and then at the end I had to come back and do it. Hey, Sonia. I hope everybody's doing okay. Thank you for being patient with me for my vacation last week. We did go and see my son, and it was very nice. We very much enjoyed our time with him. I did get a bit of a break, in crafting, just a little one. I still worked on save the dates for my daughter, and I worked on a journal book for me, but I did take a break. I wanted to take the break at that time for a couple of reasons. One was it was our birthdays and we wanted to go and see my son, and the other reason was because I wanted you guys to be able to get your images in the mail before I colored them. I just felt like it would be more fun if you could play along with me, even if you're just practicing. So I wanted to make sure that those that ordered right away would have theirs by the time I started coloring them all. So now we have this really adorable girl, and her skin is very it's very smooth. She has very smooth skin. You can see the shadows where you need to, and it's great. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So next, what I'm going to do is, I was contemplating, you guys can tell me what you think, but I was thinking about doing her hair, and instead of doing it in a brownish color, I was thinking of maybe doing it in like a blue or a lavender color. Does anybody have a preference on what you think I should do? Anybody have a suggestion? Recommendation? The first one I see is the one that I'll use. In the meantime, I'm going to pull some stuff for the rest of her outfit. Okay, Susie says blue. Okay, so we'll do blue hair then tonight. And I'm going to do some dark blue and some light blue. So we're going to kind of play around with these colors. I am going to have to swatch them out so I can see. This color over here that's in the pattern paper has a little bit more of a, it's definitely like a royal blue, but it has a bit of a, has a little bit of a teal glow to it. So we're going to try to encompass that with what we're doing. So I'll show you how that works in just a minute. So let's swatch this color. I'm going to do it right here on my paper since we have to cut her out anyway. So this is a really dark blue. I like it though. It's still in the right category of that color blue. I wasn't sure about this one. I think that one is a little bit on the too royal side. So maybe I'll switch that to 26 instead. So we're not going to do that. We're going to go this way. Okay, 26 is a little better, a little less of that royal color. And then B16 is what's going to bring in that a little bit of that teal-ish color. So see, now we're right about the color of that paper. And then I'm going to go lighter than that for highlight. So this B04 is where I'm going to go. So we're going to use this color hair to kind of match that flower right there. So that's my goal. So again, if you're coloring with me, B37, B26, B16, and B04. Bingo. No, just kidding. All right, so that is what we're going to do with her hair. Now, what I like to do with this hair when I start is I want to put some highlights within the areas that I want them to be, so I don't go too dark in those areas. And I kind of gave you a little bit of those guidelines right here, so we're going to kind of put some of this blue on the inside of these little designs I put in here, these little artist drawn lines. Those are just going to give us an idea of some of the light we want within the hair. Trust me, you'll see what I mean when I get there. It seems strange, but this is how I do it. There are other ways, but this is kind of my way. I want to make sure I don't go too dark in those areas because I really want to show some highlights in there. And then I'm going to put just a teeny bit along here because there won't be that much on the top of her head because most of that is shadowed anyway. But we'll put it in there for now just so we can, go from there. So you'll notice on the cover, what I did was I used a really light color inside those areas and then went from there. And that's sort of what we're going to do tonight. So now we're going to go with our darkest color, which is our B37. And we're going to go the other way. So the opposite side of where the lightest part is, we're going to put that in there. And because this hair is different, I'm going to do it more in a stippling type manner rather than doing like a straight coloring. Because that way it's not even, it's kind of mixed up a bit. And I like that. So, and I want this to go in a few of those, so I'm kind of doing half circles a little bit in here. Sort of where I want the dark to be. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And then we're going to put a little bit more shadow in there. So I'll show you what I mean by that here in just a minute. We're almost there. And it doesn't have to be in a complete circle. I mean, some of it will have different, all hair doesn't look exactly the same. Trust me, I have one side that looks pretty good most of the time and the other side that looks pretty bad most of the time. So we all have interesting hair. So now for this, for these little poof balls that we're doing, whatever's up close to these headphones, I want to have really dark up against those headphones, but I don't want them to end in the same spot. So I am going to brush stroke those out. So we have that dark color and it's not ending in the same spot. It's got all those little feathering techniques on them. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. Just wherever the headphones are, we are going to put some brush strokes there. Remember, the higher up you hold your marker, the skinnier the lines. I'm trying not to do that as much so you guys can see what I'm doing. But if you find it easier when you're coloring at home, make sure you're holding your marker upright. But when I do that, you guys can't see what I'm doing. So I'm trying not to do that too much. So I put a baseline against the headphones and then I'm just doing some little flicking out from there. Now I do want to keep her part dark, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. And then there's a few little artist drawn lines up here at the front where I want to put a little bit of this darkness. But that's all. I'm going to leave more of the front side for the lighter colors. Hey Reagan, hey Sonia. So glad to see all of you here. Okay, we only chose 4 colors for our combination. So our next color is D26, which is also fairly dark. So we're going to just extend from where we put that original dark color, the last one we used. We're going to extend from there, but we don't want to go all the way to the edge of the hair because I want to leave a little bit of lightness for the edge of her hair. So we're just going to go around. I find that this type of hair usually takes longer to do. There's a few more steps, but when you get to the end, it's so worth it. So I'm going to extend further from here. So as you can see, it's starting to fill in a little bit more. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And you can do this in black or brown or red or pink or whatever color you want. I think if you want to check out Timothy Thomas, he did one with pink hair that was amazing. So if you go find and follow him, you can see what he does with the new release. He is guest designing for us this month, so that is awesome. And then, you guys can see us at night on Happy Crafty Ho Ho, where we use the stamps sometimes if they work with the theme. And you can see us color different things on there as well. Now, these curlets that go around her forehead, I'm going to do them in this color. I feel like the light will blend too much with the skin tone, so I'm not going to use the lightest color. I'm going to use the second to the lightest color. And then I'm going to make sure that I go around the edge where those ringlets are, and a little bit back from there. Remember, I said I didn't want it to be too light on this part of her hair. You like it? Yay! Maybe we'll even give her blue lipstick because, we can do whatever we want. That's part of the fun. Okay, so this is our B16. Now, this one I'm not going to blend with. I'm going to go back to that B04 we started with, but I am going to fill most of it in with this color. But I'm going to leave a few little highlight areas for the last one. And this one I really am stippling the color in just a little bit here and a little bit there. And anywhere I want it to be blended out nicely. This is just kind of adding that teal color so that it matches a little bit better with the background that we chose to use. Alright, now back to the first color we started with, which was our B04. And when I do this one from the edges of her hair, I'm going to go from the edge towards the color. So this time I'm going to go this way. What that does is it allows this color to stay at the edge, and it pushes back some of the darker color. And that's why I don't go from the dark to the light, because that drags the dark. I want it just to stay very light, so I'm going to go from the no color to the light color. I'm going to do the same thing here, but I'm not going to go into where I put that darker color. I'm just going to do it strictly over top of the first coat that I put on there. And I'm going to do each one of them like that, so that I don't have any white showing anymore. And that will blend all my colors together, and it leaves a beautiful highlight. Here we go. Once again, from the outsides, we're going to do our other little poof ball. I mean, I don't know what you officially call this hair, but I have some friends who called it poof ball hair, so it's just stuck in my head that way now. And just poof balls. 2 little poof balls. And then for this part right here, I'm just going to do a little bit of back and forth to kind of fill that in, blend all those colors together. I don't want the highlight to be as obvious up there. So there we go. Now we have her. I'm going to drag a little bit of this dark into it so I can soften that up a little bit. Alright, so now we have beautiful hair, beautiful blue hair. Coloring along, but I'm using my Ohuhus. That's good, that's good. I mean, really all you have to do if you're using a different brand is don't listen to the numbers and just pick yourself dark, medium, light, and you can do it too. So I think we did pretty good matching the flowers, so I'm happy with that. And I do want to stick with the colors in here, and there is lavender in here. So there's a great big lavender flower that's going to be on the front. So I definitely want to pull some lavender, and I think we'll pull some orangey red and some almost like brownish taupe color. I don't know how to explain it, but I can tell you what it is in Copics. It is the E87, 84, 81 that makes me think of that color right there. I don't think we need the darkest one, so I'll check it out just to make sure. That's E87. That's E85. And this is E81. And if you want it to stay just a tad bit darker, you could always add in E89, which is darker. So I think we will, because this flower is significantly darker, so I feel like we need that 89 in there. So we'll take the 81 and put it back, and we'll just use 89, 87, 84. And while you're pulling your markers, I'm going to pull some purple as well. Not coloring, just watching. I rock rough and tough with my Afro Puffs. Oh, that's funny. Afro Puffs, that's what I should have called them. I don't know. We call them puff balls. What can I say? Okay, so for lavender, I really want this color to be close to that. And light purple is not my norm. So I'm going to test out a couple of light purples. I'm way more fluent with the dark ones. So this is BV17 and this is BV13. I think I'm not in the right realm. So maybe I'll switch to 12. I'll pick up V12 with this. I'll put it over both colors to kind of change the tone. I think it's still a little on the purple side. That was a little bit too pink. So let's see. I wonder if this color, oh yeah, this will probably do it. V22, if I go over, it'll tone it down a little bit. And it'll give me that lavender color, I think. Close enough. Close enough. So I'll stick with those for the purple. So I ended up with BV17, BV13, V12, and then V22. I know they're not even close in numbers, but they're really good combo. So we have some green and we have some orangey red. So let me pull those as well. The green is a little on the, almost like a pine tree green. Let's try this one. This is 99, G99, and then G94. Okay, I think we're staying in the realm of what we're looking for. Pretty good, not too shabby. And then I need one more color to go with that. I think I'm gonna try YG63. Oh yeah, I think that's gonna do it. Okay, so there's my green color. Now we need a red color. And I think because I want the red color to have a little bit of brown in it, because this is not as bright as it looks like on camera, I'm going to try my E09 because I think that's really close. And then we'll see if E08 and 7 work well with that. If not, I think it's going to work. And this one is E07. Yep, I think that's going to be the color I want to do. So there's that color. And then we definitely need like some gumball pink for her stoppers, because who didn't have pink stoppers on their skates? Well, this one has yellow, but I like the pink stoppers. So we need a bright pink color for her stoppers. So I think we're going to go with RV14, and I'll worry about her skates last. Right now I want to work on her outfit and getting all her stuff together. So I think what I'm going to do is start out with these brownish colors and do the areas that I want to be the darker colors. So E89 I'm going to start out with, and I want that to be the color of the foam that's up against her head that she's listening to her music on. So I'm going to put a little bit of this right along her face, and then I'm going to do a few brush strokes away from the headphones. We'll make the headphones a brighter color, but just the muff part. I want to be a little darker. And then maybe I'll do like her stripes. So I think I'm going to do her waistband on her shorts, and then her stripes on her shorts, because I feel like stripes were always some tan-ish color when I was in school. And if we're going to do that with her shorts, we need one of her stripes on her socks to be in that color too. So I chose the second stripe down, and we'll do that. Hey, Linda. Oh, is that my mom, Linda, or a different Linda? Your mom. Hey, Mom. I didn't see your name. I just saw them say hi, Linda. Oh, yes, it is my mom. Okay. E87. I'm going to do along the bottom, but I'm going to leave a...
Yes, why do you remove the offensive marker?
Oh, that's a common question. I get that question a lot. So when your Copic markers are really full, they might tend to blob on your paper because there's a core in the center of the marker. And what happens is when you open the cap, it draws the ink to the open end. So if my markers are really full and I'm holding the marker this way and it's drawing the color, if they're full, they might blob on your paper. But if you take the other one off, it equalizes the pressure to both ends, thinking you're going to color with both ends, and then it doesn't blob. So I made it a habit. So I will always take them both off, just so that when mine are full, I don't have those issues. And I do quarterly fills on my markers and check them in between, so mine are almost always full. So I just don't want to blob on my paper. But that is the reason that I take them both off. So this is the last color I have in the brown, so I'm going to finish the little earmuffs with it, and I'm going to make sure I get a little bit of blending with that. I don't want too much because I want you to be able to see that they look like they're, you know, wrinkled in different areas or whatever you want to call that. But and then her waistline, I'm just going to go back and forth. And then on these little areas, I'm just going to fill them in with my final color. Get that blended a little bit there. And if you noticed while I was talking a minute ago, I went ahead and did just the sole of the skates. I have the dark color for the sole on there. I just wanted to get that in there because I think that usually stays pretty dark. What else do we need? I think that's it for this color for now. And we'll switch it up if we need to. Okay, so now is the time. I have 3 colors left. I have red, purple, and green, which don't technically sound fabulous together, but they're gonna be. So I have to decide at this point, do I want the purple closest to her blue or the red or the green? So make her earmuffs. I think I want her shirt to be red. So maybe we'll make, I want her skates, I think, to be purple. All right, let's go with, let's do the red up close to her hair. I think it'll make it show off really well. So we'll do her headphones with that, and then we'll do her shorts with red. So we're going to actually use the red in a couple of places. So I'm going to do this underside of her headphones right here. It's closest to her head. I'm just going to fill all that in with this E09. And then we're going to start doing the shadow effect. So I'm going to put some back here along where the holder is, and then a little bit from the bottom. We're going to do the same thing on this side. It's going to fill in a little bit more because you can't see as much of that one. And then right here along this edge, I'm going to add a little, and that side. And then I'm going to switch to my next color, and I'll go back and do the shorts next. I had blue skates with tie-dye breaks. Oh, that's so cool. E08 is our next color, so I'm going to go down a little bit with the E08 and then up a little bit. I'm going to leave a little spot there for some highlight, and then I'm going to do around the back side and up from the bottom. Kind of do all the way around, leaving one little area for highlight since I don't have a lot of highlight. I mean, I don't have another color. I only have 3 colors in this combination. I mean, I could add some, but I think we're good. I kind of like this color, and I think it looks really good up close to her hair. So I'm pretty happy with that. You had green metallic roller skates? Oh, you guys had cool roller skates. E07. I think I usually rented mine. I don't remember having a specific pair. At least not boot skates like that. I think I rented them most of the time. And then I think I had the ones that you can get where you wear your tennis shoes and you attach to the you attach your tennis shoes to the skate. I remember those. I had those for sure. All right. So I like you have those now. E09. I think we're going to do her shorts and we're going to do her wheels. But I just realized I missed that little spot on her socks. So I grabbed my E84 real quick to finish that stripe on the sock. All right, so here we go with the shorts. So we're back to E09, and I'm going to put that up close to her waist. These brown colors are pretty close in shades. They're not real, they're not a big difference between the 2, or 3, if you will. So her shorts will remain pretty dark. I think I'll do this other stripe on her sock just so it matches with everything else. And then we'll do her skates. So I'm doing the inside, like around this top part of each wheel. And then, of course, this wheel behind here is so hidden in the back that I'm just going to do that, all that color. And then a little bit right here. They're very small. I wonder if I could zoom in some more. Nope. 1, 2, 3. I'm as far in as I can go. I hope I got my highs if I did. Hello! Phyllis, you had white skates? Sonia, rental skates like me. Yep. Okay, E08. I think we'll wait on her lipstick and see what color will make them stand out when we get done. So I'm just going to brush down from where I put that first color and a little bit up from here. So we can start filling that in a little bit. Then we're going to work on the socks. I think I'm going to finish them off with this color. It'll keep them darker than the color before them. And then we're going to start doing around the top part of these wheels and finish the bottom part. That'll keep the outside of the wheel lighter than the hidden inside part. There we go. Perfecto. She is so fun to color because you can make her skates and all her stuff whatever color you want. And then E07's the last one, so I'm going to finish that off, and then I'm going to do a little bit of this back and forth. Very light touch. Don't need a whole lot of that because it is very close to the shade that we're using. And then I'm just going to touch the white areas on the skates. Just very lightly. Very, very light touch. There we go. Alright, Now, if I wasn't trying to match this to the paper, she'd have pink and purple and yellow skates, but I am trying to stick to the colors, so I'm definitely going to do her little stoppers in this pink, and I'm going to do the whole thing in the pink. I think she needs pink stoppers because that's what I had. That's what I always wanted, I guess I should say. Okay, lavender is the really light color, so the skates are going to be lavender and green. So they're going to be green with the lavender accents. So I'm going to work on the purple first. So I'm going to do this outside edge. It's usually pretty dark right there. I can't really add a whole lot of tones to that. And then the heel. And then I'm going to do it on this side. Right up here. This side you can see a little bit more. So I can add one more color to that. I also think I'm going to do her accents on her shirt in just this dark purple. There we go. And then I'm going to grab that BV13. I won't need to, I just need to put that on her shoes a little bit. I am going to come in with that V12, but I'm not sure at this point that I'm going to need the V22. So we picked it, but I don't really think I'm going to need it because most of this is already colored in. I'm just changing the tone to a little bit brighter tone here. There we go. So cute. I almost think we need to make her skates pink, but oh well. Alright, here comes the green. This is G99. It's going to be really dark, so I'm going to skip the skates and I'm going to work on the shirt. So I'm just going to put my shadow color in on the shirt. I want to put a little bit up under her arm and down the side and a little bit right there. That is all of that color. Next color is G94. We'll have a little bit more of this one. It'll be a little bit lighter color. So I'm going to keep going with this right here. I'll go along that outside there. And then we're also going to come in a little bit here and sort of finish up her tummy. I'm going to do her skates. Start them with this color. We'll finish them with the next color. And then I have to pick a color for the rest of her socks because I really wasn't paying attention to that. Or maybe they should be green too. Yeah, let's do them green too. She'll be all kinds of green down here on her socks.
Reagan said her sister worked at Aurora Lincoln High School, so she had her own inline skates.
Oh, that's awesome. That would have been a fun job, except all your friends would be there skating and you'd have to work. That would be a bummer.
But her and her twin had to rent skates.
Yes, me too. Alright, the last color I have is YG23. So I'm just going to do a bit of back and forth to finish that off. For this part right here, I'm going to go back and forth this direction. Now we don't want her to look funny here, so I'm going to work a little bit of this lines and stuff that we have going on here. There we go. I think we got a little dark right there. Okay. Then I'm going to finish her socks. She coordinated her socks with her skates. She likes her green skates. We could put some sparkly on her skates too if we wanted. Okay, so most of her is done. We have not done her eyes, so we need to decide. I think I'm going to go with a brownish color for her eyes, and I think we're going to put, we're going to do her lips blue because I just feel like doing that. So out of the colors I already have picked out here, I think I'm going to use the E09 to start in her eyes. So I'm going to do just the little bit on the top of each side, her eye, and then I'm going to switch over to, I think, E35. Do the bottom of the rest of her eye with E35. And then I'm going to go get that G00 to kind of lighten those eyes a little bit. And we're going to take that 00 and just run it along the bottom of her eyes. It'll kind of brighten them up just a tad at the bottom. This color has a lot of colorless blender, so it starts moving that ink around. So don't do it too much or the color will come out of her eyes. I think for her lips, I'm going to start with the B26 for the dark area on her, for the darkest part of her lips. So I'm just going to do the two corners first. And then I'm going to switch to B16 and then B04 will finish it off. So B16 is next. You like her? She's so cute. She's going to look so good with these colors of this background. If I was just coloring her for fun, she'd be way different colors. But because I want to match that paper, I had to add in, you know, kind of play with it. So add this little bit of extra to her lips. Look at how pretty her lips are. It makes her lips stand out really well. I'm going to move the markers now, so I have a little more space on my desk. And then we have to fussy cut her out. And I'm going to do that before I use the white gel pen, because if I use the white gel pen, then I'll smear it, because I know myself, I'll smear it. And then I'll be so sad. The key to doing your fussy cutting is moving the paper, not your scissors. So you'll see me rocking that paper around. And that's why it just makes it easier. It's harder to keep a straight line when you're cutting if you're moving the scissors and not the paper. I got my scissors twisted up with the corner of that paper. There we go. Much better. What are you over there munching on, Dale? You know, it's snack time for him when I'm doing a live. He's over there eating cheese. Oh, you did go out and mow the lawn. You sure did. I looked up and he had sunglasses and shoes and everything on. I was like, where you going? Where you going, man? He said, I'm going to mow the lawn. I said, all right. Yeah, we got to do that when the sun goes down because it's too hot here tonight. Okay, now when I get around this hand, I'm going to cut off all this excess because that little tail hanging on there drives me crazy when I'm fussy cutting, so I always tend to cut that off. Alright, there we go. Almost halfway. The other side will be a little easier because her arm is down. But when I cut around her hair, I know it's very wavy. I'm not going to be all that specific. I'm just going to move the paper like back and forth to give that wave effect. It doesn't have to be perfect. It'll still look nice. So I wouldn't worry too much about being very specific when you're fussy cutting them. Just as long as you dip a little, when the hair dips a little, you should be good enough. The hand is going to be so hard for me to fussy cut. All of it. But, well, all of it, but yeah, if you're not a fussy cutter, your brother Scanacut will cut it out for you. But honestly, I don't know, I'm a fussy cutter, I guess. I used to not be, but then I did it so much that now I just prefer. I feel like I get it cut out faster than trying to set up a machine to cut it out. This arm is pretty easy. You're really just going into one little area up here. I am going to cut that white space though. Right around there. I am going to cut that out because if I don't, I'll be doing it with an X-Acto knife because it'll drive me crazy. I'm really picky like that. And we'll pick up right here, and we are almost there. We just have a teeny bit more, and I usually do this a little bit faster, but I know that that card's going to be somewhat small because of the way the cassette, I want you to be able to see all the cassette stuff, so there we go. There's our girl, all fussy cut out. You're not that good at it. You'll get, the more you do it, the better you'll get. It'll be a lot faster. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys how I did this die, because I think if anybody else has this die and wants to do it, I'm going to show you how the easiest way to do this is. So on the back, there's a picture of the die. Each color indicates one of the die pieces. So the red one was the first die, then the blue one was the second die, then there was a third one, a fourth one, and then these were the accent pieces. So I did the same thing when I cut mine. So the bottom one, the red one, I cut that in white, and I put the die over the top. I'll show you. When I cut out the card, when I cut it out, I put the cut line, so this is the blade. I folded the paper in half and I put it up against this line, but not under the line, so that it would cut me a card base. So I will have a full card. And then the other ones are just a one layer cut, but that one I like. That's how you make it into a card. If you want to make it into an album, you don't need to have a second side to it. So then I took this one with the stitching on it. I just cut one of those. And then the yellow one right there, I cut that one in green. It's just this one piece. And then the purple one I cut in tan. And that's just one piece as well, and there's a bunch of score lines on there to give you some guides on where to put the extra pieces, and it added some details to it, so it's pretty cool. Then there's the next one was this one right here that was hot pink, and this one was hot pink. So I decided to do those in the pattern paper, so I cut those two pieces out in pattern paper so I could have a pattern on my cassette tape. And then this black piece is the tape that's inside, so we're going to be putting that in there. And then in brown, I cut these two little pieces so it'll stand out. And then that's it. Those are just all the pieces that are on here, and the only one I didn't use was this one because I didn't want to put NKOTB on mine because that's New Kids on the Block, but I'm going to have my girl and some other stickers, so I didn't use that one, but I used all the other dies to make this one. So it's really not bad. You only have to do You only have to cut one of everything except for these. These, you have to cut 2 of these. But other than that, you only have to cut everything one time. And then you can layer it up. So this one goes on top and it's matted a little, so you'll see the border around the outside. But I'm going to wait until I have them all layered up on the blue before I put them on the card base, just because it's easier for me that way. So there's the blue one, and then the green one goes on top of the blue one, like that. And I haven't decided how we're putting the girl on there yet. We're just going to play around with it. But no, it's not too confusing. And they don't have instructions with it, but I feel like when they put this picture, it's enough for me to know how to put it together. So I love that. That was my feedback to Sean, was I love that picture on the back that's color coded if there's not going to be instructions, because for me, you know, for crafty people who make these kinds of things, that's enough to know what you're doing. I've been able to do almost all of his dies based on the picture on the back. So that's been really helpful. So I'm just kind of moving it around to where I want it on here while the glue is wet, and then I'm going to press it down. Now, we do know that this has to be on the inside, so we have to make sure we put that in at the right time. So I'm assuming that means it lines up with that circle, that little circle gadget right there. See how that lines up? So you don't have to worry about trying to get it in the right spot. All you have to do is put glue around this area right here. And if you want to put it on those little things, you can. And then we're going to take this piece and we're just going to sit it on top of there and line it up. So you can line it up from the back or the front. It's going to look the same either way. And so that's pretty easy to put in there. I was a little bit worried about being able to put it in the right place, but it lines up with this so nicely that it's very simple to do. If you want to go all out, you could use acetate and put it on there, but I didn't really feel like that was actually necessary. So for this card. So then this part will go on top of there, and then we'll just keep decorating from there. So each layer on top of layer on top of layer, just don't forget the tape part. Gosh, did you guys ever have your cassettes where the tape pulled out and you had to wind it back up, like get a pencil and stick it in there and like wind because the tape got all messed up on the inside or pulled out the edges? Do you remember that? I bet some people will have no idea what I'm talking about, but those of you who had a lot of cassettes like I did will know exactly what I am talking about. You will know exactly what I mean. Need a pencil all the time. There you go. See, I knew you guys would know. So I'm going to lay that on there. It's a little bit harder for me to see layout when the camera is above because I can't put my head over the project. But I think we're doing pretty good at keeping it lined up. I'm going to turn it over and use my soda press because it just spreads the glue out and gets me a good even hold. So there we go. So next we have these two pieces, and this one is cut square on two ends and rounded on two sides. So you can't mistakenly do that wrong because of the way there's a embossed area right there that shows you exactly how to put this on. So you won't make that mistake. Oh, look, the other side was cassette tapes, but I just felt like that might be a little too much, so I went for the peace symbol instead. And if you wanted, you could also make this like a shaker. You can make this like a shaker card. You could shaker that, whoops. You could shaker this window, or you could shaker a layer below that. It would be a lot of fun to make it a shaker. All right, So here we go. I'm going to start over here in this corner and line it up with that embossed line on there, so I can make sure I have it all lined up the way that I want. I go along the bottom next and then up the top, and it lays perfectly flat. It'd be great if I hadn't dropped the glue on there earlier. And then I'm just going to press all that on there really good. These little things go in the front right here. So I'm going to use my tweezers for them. A VHS tape was just as bad. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Yep. It was. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on here. This is why I like the Barely Art glue. The less I press the bottle, the slower and less comes out. I can get just small amounts, but it dries clear, so if I happen to get it outside, it won't matter because it'll dry clear. But again, this one also has the embossed edge, so you can see exactly where to put the little cassette thingy. So that makes it super easy too. But this is really cute. I have never put this together, so this was my first attempt, and it was really fairly easy. I mean, I'm pretty happy with how easy it is. I could see me making a bunch of these. You could do just plain if you wanted to, and you could put the New Kids on the Block. They'd put the label right here if you want to label what she's listening to. But this one goes along the bottom. Again, there's another embossed spot there, so you can see exactly where it goes. It's a pretty easy one. There we go. And then we're gonna just set that there on this side first. I'm kind of looking in these little circles and squares to make sure I have it all lined up so we can see the green through it. It looks like that was pretty easy. So now we have the cassette tape, and you could really do it in any color you want. Like I could have done the pattern on the back piece and then the solid on these pieces, but you know, there's so many variations of what you could do. And then this one will go right on top of here, and this will be a cassette tape shaped card. It won't be just a, you know, it won't be just a, like a postcard. It'll be an actual card. And if you want, I like the way these dies are. You could do this stitched die, and you could put a piece inside here if you decided to do the base a color instead of black, instead of white. You could pop this up to make it look a little more dimensional if you want. I think I might do that actually. Let me grab one of these pop-ups because they cut pretty easy, so I think it'll look better. I'm excited. I want to pop it up. And then I'm going to set it here so I can see where the edges are. If I come out just a little bit more and cut straight along this line, should get me the basics of this background. I will need to cut a few of the corners, maybe just this one because it's sticking over. So I'll just trim off that corners, and then it should fit on there perfectly. I still have a little bit on this corner, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that off just to make sure I don't mess that up. I got these sheets from Amazon. They come in, like, you can get them in 5x7. I bought them in 5x7 this time. And you can just cut them down as you need them and then use the excess whenever you need it. And it makes for a way faster. I like it a lot better than having to worry about putting a million of those dots on there. So we're only in the beginners. Now we've built it. It was pretty easy. Now I'm going to peel this off and go ahead and put it on there, because the rest of what we're going to do is just decorate up. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on here because that'll allow me to slide it around, make sure I get it on there perfectly straight. So I'm just going to put it all over so I have a little bit of wiggle room. And then I'm going to place it on top of here, just like this, kind of eyeballing it. That's good. I think it's good. Okay, I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to rub it with my soda press to get that glue all spread out. So far, so good. Now we have our girl, and I was thinking I would put her on the side. I'm very excited about this. I like this sentiment that says "Let's play." It's from a different. It's from the gaming ephemera, but I like it because I think it's neat. It says "Let's play," and I kind of feel like she's playing roller skating and playing her music and all that good stuff. I had a smiley face somewhere. I'm not sure what happened to it. But I like the roller skates. I just don't think I want them on the outside, so I think I'm going to put them on the inside. And then I was thinking about putting one of these stickers, since the colors are really good for this, like right along here where it says happy birthday. So this could be like a birthday card. And then the Let's Play, I really like that. I think I'm going to use that too. I kind of wanted that happy face. That's alright. I don't know what I did with it. I had it with this stuff, but I had it on top of my markers, so it could be long gone in the middle of my markers now. So we still have her. I do feel like I need a little something right there. So what am I going to say? Have a groovy birthday. No, because I already said birthday. Peace, love, and cake. I kind of like that. All right. Let's go to, I think I have some of the Happy Face shaker bits. I'm going to see if I have them. If I don't, we're going to go with, nope, I must have used them already. See, that's what happens. You use all your stuff. So, I don't think I want to put the skates over there or this peace sign. I think I'm going to put this sticker. It does say peace, love, and cake, so it kind of goes with the whole theme of being your birthday. And then I'm going to put her on there. Yes, I always use papers that, like printing errors or whatever, because nobody except for you guys who are watching with me know that it's on the back. And then we'll have to do our white gel pen as soon as we're done. So we're going to put her on there. I'm going to press her down with my soda press. I love this tool. I use it so much. Okay, I don't think it necessarily needs any bling, but if I was going to, I'd probably put them in these corners where the little dots are, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I do think I'm going to put these roller skates inside. I think I'm going to put them on this side, just for a little bit of decoration on the inside. We don't have to have that, but I kind of like it, so I'm going to stick those over there, and I think I'll use the peace sign up there. It just kind of keeps the theme going on the inside of the card, which I think is pretty cool. So this is part of our ephemera, so it works out really nicely. You can use the ephemera to decorate the inside of your card, but that actually was a little bit faster than I thought it was going to be. Let me zoom in so you can really see it. So this is our girl on her cassette tape. Isn't that cool? We need to use our white gel pen though. We didn't fix her eyes yet. So I'm going to put just a little bit white gel pen on her eyes. going to put a tad, just a tad on her lips. And then I'm going to touch it to kind of dull it a little bit, but it'll put a little shine on her lips. I'm going to put a little bit on here on her little headphones, since you can see her headphones. I think I'll put a little bit on her skates, so it looks like she's cruising along. And I think that's all. So there we go. She's got a little bit of white gel pen, makes her stand out a little bit. A few little excess things. Look at them, that look really cool. And then this is happy birthday, let's play, peace, love, and cake. And then you open it up and you have some decorations on the inside. Super fun. I can imagine doing this a million different ways. It is fun. Thank you. Oh, you guys have great feedback in there. Such a fun card. So cool. Yay! I'm so glad you guys like that. If you want to hang out with us a little bit more, you could join me over at Crafty Ho Ho YouTube channel, because that's where I'm going next. I do not know what the tasks are, but we are going to be completing some stuff tonight. So this was, the Scrappy Boy has the cassette tape, and he does have it, so it's not one that's discontinued. And then the stamp set we used was Urban Groove. The paper pad was called Boogie Down. And then I really appreciate you guys joining me. I will be back on Thursday to use something else from the new release for fun. I do have something in mind already, but yeah, so I'm excited. So come join me again on Thursday. If you're watching this on replay on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We're trying to grow that channel. We want to move to doing some more videos out on YouTube as well as Facebook. So thank you so much for joining me. If you want, come join me over at Crafty Ho Ho on YouTube. And other than that, I'll see you on the flip side on Thursday at 8:30 Central. Good night, everyone. Thank you for joining.